All right, we are go for launch.
Good evening and welcome to the Thursday, June 11th, 2026 meeting of the Henrietta Town Board. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Here.
Councilmember Stafford,
Here.
Councilmember Safranek,
Here.
Councilmember Owens,
Here.
Supervisor Schultz.
Here. We'll begin the prayer. We'll begin the meeting with the silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Supervisor, fellow board members, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the May 20th, 2026 meeting.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Becky, I don't know if you want to join us. Did you hear?
Yeah, there's
Is
an
it what?
echo.
Yeah.
There's some feedback going on.
Fellow board members, I have resolution 11-213, 2026 of the Town Board of the Town of Henrietta, County of Monroe, State of New York. Whereas Janet Howland worked as a part-time clerk in the town clerk's office from October 2008 to January 2019. And whereas in her time as part-time clerk, Jan was consistently relied on for her extensive knowledge and experience, yet never hesitated to ask questions, was fearless in learning new things, and was always the first to offer assistance to the rest of the team, taking on extra responsibilities to help the department on more than one occasion, even coming out of retirement in September 2020 to assist the town clerk's office as a temporary clerk during school tax collection when they were short-staffed. And whereas after being ordained by the Universal Life Church in 2013 to officiate a coworker's wedding ceremony and performing additional ceremonies, it was evident that Jan had a real gift for weddings and was appointed by the town of Henrietta as marriage officer in May 2015. And whereas even after her retirement from being a part-time clerk, she has continued to serve as marriage officer for the town of Henrietta. And whereas in her continued service as marriage officer, Jan has proven to make genuine connections with people. Couples in attendance at her ceremonies have asked for her to officiate their own ceremonies, and couples have traveled from as far away as New York City, and couples have continued to stay in contact with her after the wedding. And whereas in all of her experiences representing the town of Henrietta, Jan's greatest asset is her interactions with people. She has a unique gift of kindness and empathy that doesn't go unnoticed, making her able to relate to anyone and everyone, providing a level of service that goes above and beyond. And whereas Jan is retiring as marriage officer so that she can move out of state to live closer to her family, therefore be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board along with town staff, recognize Janet Howland for her many years of dedicated, compassionate, and exemplary service to the town of Henrietta and to the community as a whole. Her unwavering commitment, her kindness, and the countless lives she has touched stand as a lasting testament to the profound impact one person can have.
Second.
So we figured it was easier to get Jen here if she didn't know what was going on. So we threw up a smoke screen. I will say it kind of bookends my relationship with Jan, because when I was first elected, she was here on like December 30th. And I said to her, "So what's it feel like being your last day working at the town?" And she's like, "What?" And I said, "Well, John Howland ran against us. I can't have a relative of John on my staff. Of course you're going to be fired." And her face is melting and she's pretty much in tears. I said, "I'm just kidding." And that's kind of how our relationship started. And she's just been, a joy to work with, a lot of fun to be around. I will say, John even said she's the best Howland, and she married into the family. So, but it's been a joy, and just so happy that you stayed involved, and so sad that you're going to be leaving. But hey, I get it. You want to be in your family. But don't forget your family back here whenever you have the chance to travel through. So others.
Jan, thank you for all your service here and your kindness. It's always good to see you. And I wish you a lot of luck with your family and have a great time down there. Congratulations too.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate you and thank you for all your service. And I can say every time anytime I came into the office and you were here, always greeted with a smile, and it was you're very kind. So thank you.
Thank you, Jan, for your years of service. It's always been fun to watch all the couples kind of bouncing into the office and everything. And I can just imagine that having someone like you to officiate as such an important occasion for them is just been a real beautiful thing over the years.
Yeah. Thank you, Jan. I don't think we met yet. I think we might be neighbors down the street, but I've heard such wonderful things about you. As you can see, like the staff came out and they couldn't stop talking about you at a workshop, and so it's so excited to hear about the everything you've contributed to this community. Thank you.
Are there folks from the audience who wish to make comment? Maybe a past board member who served for many years? You're going to be last, Jan. Yeah, you. Oh, Rick, what do you have on her? He's.
How many people have you ever known in your life that every minute, every time you have saw her or met her, it's nothing but a smile, wishing you well, hoping everything's okay. And I have retired 2 of your pens, and I'll never. You added value to our community and to the town. Anybody who met you and got married by you made our town better in their eyes. Thank you so much.
Great. You got another?
Miss Janet, what are we going to do without you? I have known her actually going back to high school, right? And what I want to say is, when I was on the town board, our town clerk's office was not the welcoming, necessarily friendly, congenial place that it should be. And I really think that when you came on board And this team was built around you. It was amazing. It's what the town should be. We're the town of friendship, right? And you guys made our town hall just so special. You are an amazing person. I am so glad you're going to go be with your family, but we really hate to lose you here in Henrietta. And thank you for all you've given to us. You're a special, special person. Only you. We have to say it's for someone else. Yeah. That says everything about Janet. So thank you, my love.
Well, Steve had it right. I've often said that Jan is the best of the Howlands, and she didn't even start out as one. So I've had Jan not only worked with her, obviously, but she made the town better. She made the Howlands better. And she's going to be missed not only here, but in the Howland family. But we'll still be getting together. We'll still be having some good times. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't be prouder of having you as a sister-in-law.
No, this was supposed to be for you tonight. But thank you. I'm not gonna say much because I can't. I just want to say that over all these years, I have had the honor and the pleasure to represent the town of Henrietta as marriage officer. I was never prouder than when I was able to say that at the beginning of every one of my ceremonies. And it means so much to me. And I want to personally thank Becky Weisner, town clerk, who was the one who originally came up and did the research to have a marriage officer for the first time in Henrietta. And I'm very honored and I want to thank her because she led me on a path. And by the time I get done next month, it'll be about 680 ceremonies. Wow. I'm very honored. Thank you.
Special. What that? We have to call the roll. I know. Yeah, and we have to do that too. So before we present her with the certificate, could you call the roll? Do you want to do it, Becky? Or just, I think Becky's verklempt as well. I saw when I could see it from here.
Councilmember Barley,
Thanks for your pen again, Janet. Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. And Jen, also, all the notes here. Jen Howland pens. So do you want to come up for a photograph with us?
The building engineering factors, legal with Jan's, if we could.
Oh. Oh.
Everybody say, yeah. Gonna fix it. Or why don't we? Heather, could you take that too? By the way, I will note that I sometimes get criticized for wordy, verbose resolutions. That one takes the cake. I understand.
Everybody's clear now?
Yes.
The game's all done.
Peter's staying.
Boring.
But only
For most, I guess.
All right. First up, we have first public hearing is for special use permit application number 2026-007 and incentive zoning application number IZ 2026-002. Hertz Car Rental, 2199 Henrietta Road, East Henrietta Road, to operate a car rental facility. Do we have a representative here or online? If you're online, you're muted.
Hi all, we're here from the Henrietta Town Center. Pleasure to be in front of the board and everybody else. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You also
So
have,
as
you also have Hertz, Jennifer in the real estate department, and we have Tom in operations.
great,
Great.
welcome.
Laura as well from Hertz.
And Jake Rivera of Caliber Brokerage, landlord and tenant representation.
Great, thank you. So as discussed at the last meeting, we put together a plan basically, whereas the car rental facility is not normally allowed in a commercial B1 zoning district. It can be allowed through incentive zoning, and that area is in a revitalization corridor. And I'll note that it's the second oldest retail plaza in town. I'm pretty sure it's second oldest. I think it went Southtown Plaza first, then Suburban Plaza second. In talking about that, so the incentive in this case is a complementary use, and the community benefits were the revitalization of a older plaza, as well as a connection, improving the connection from the neighborhood to the west. There's a pedestrian and bicycle connection, and that falls in line with our active transportation plan. So as discussed, the offered incentive, or excuse me, the offered benefit is that they're going to fix that up, get it away from the dumpster, whether that means to relocate the end or move the dumpster pickup area. So just so that when people are coming into the plaza, they're not coming through there, and then stripe it to connect it to the sidewalk. And then if it's insufficiently lit, only the portion inside the plaza we're talking about, but if it's insufficiently lit there, then they would add lighting. And so that's how we've written the incentive zoning, and I'll open it up First I'll ask, does the applicant wish to add anything to what was already discussed? All right.
No,
Go ahead.
appreciate you providing the background. We're very excited to continue to invest in the property, and the community as a whole. We've done some revitalization to the property, including some paving work and, the entrance of some new tenants, one of which is the Emerald Event Space that's come before the board in the past couple of meetings. And so we look forward to continuing to invest in the space, and hopefully it becomes a bright spot for the community, unlike some other retail plazas that don't get the love and affection that they so truly need. So we're just excited to present to the board and hope we can see this through.
Sounds good. And I'll also note that at the previous hearings, there was some concerns raised about parking. When the car wash was approved, it reduced the amount of immediately available parking in front of what I'll call the north building, the building that is on the north side of the plaza. And so there was some concerns about the potential of rental cars creating issues there. And so we talked about that there were some designated spaces around the northeast corner of the plaza, that's where rental cars could be stored. If there's more than those on site, they would be stored in what we're referring to as overflow areas, which is the parking to the south and to the west of the car wash, because those parking fields are not as in high demand. And then, there was a concern raised about people leaving their cars in the parking lot overnight. And so one of the things that we've also asked for is that there be no parking signs, or no overnight parking signs put up near the plaza. All right, I'll open it up to the town board.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I wasn't so excited about this particular resolution because of where it is, and being at Plaza a lot, I know it's very busy. And however, with the work your team has done to kind of minimize some of the things that I was worried about and adding the incentive zoning to it for community benefit, I hope it all works out, that we don't have any issues over there with the new applicant being there, and I don't have anything else that I'd like to add.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I'd like to echo what Councilmember Barley just said. I was not initially thrilled with the particular location and was kind of puzzled by, I guess I still am a little bit by Hertz's business decision, but it's not up to us to question the business decision. And I am happy that the plaza owners are looking at creative methods and creative ways of bringing in businesses in order to stay full, bright, vibrant, and active. That is not the case with every single plaza in Henrietta.
I definitely echo what everybody was saying. I definitely like the effort by Eleanor talking about looking for ways to definitely improve the plaza, finding innovative ways to kind of be sustainable. I really like it. I'm glad that these changes and our concerns were addressed. So I'm okay with this.
So I'm glad to hear that, you're going to clean up that connection to the adjacent neighborhood. When I went over there and the dumpster was right next to the entrance, I thought that could be improved. So thanks for that. As I made it very clear, I think that I was not in favor of having round car spots off of West Henrietta Road. It's just the way West Henrietta Road is where the auto row is, and I think that's where rental car places should be. The only other question I do have, Steve, is are we going to, and we didn't bring it up and I didn't bring it up, limit them any the number of rental cars that they can have on the property like we did at budget over there on Jeffrey.
Let me go look at the resolution. I don't remember if we put a cap on
I
it.
didn't see that.
Hertz folks, I don't know if this was expressly discussed, but is there a number that it was in mind for this? In terms of cars in the rental facility?
I can speak to that if you guys want. It's a little challenging to put a set number on it. I mean, if we absolutely had to, we could, but for us, the goal is that the cars are on rent, right? Otherwise, we have the ability to repurpose and move the cars to different locations. So the goal would never to be to have a large number of vehicles sitting at any of our locations for any long period of time. The only reason it's hard to kind of pinpoint exact numbers is just because, you know, obviously we could get an influx of returns for holidays or one-way demand due to like a storm or things like that. But if there was a set number that you guys were looking at, we could absolutely work with you guys on that. I would say on average, though, we'd probably be talking about 10 to 15 cars max on the lot.
So one of the things, just to be clear, is if we did put a cap on it and it was seen that you exceeded the cap, you'd be given a notification. You'd have, 24 to 48 hours to correct. So if you had a big sudden influx, you'd have time to correct that. So it's, what were you think, Mike, 20?
If he, she said between 10 and 15. I was gonna say, I'm okay with 15 or, if you want to go to 20, I'd be.
What are others?
I'm okay with 20. If that would make Councilman, if 15 would make Councilman Stafford more comfortable, we could do that.
I just think if they're looking at typically 10 to 15, again, with an influx.
Yeah,
that's what-
with a sudden influx.
I understand. I mean,
Yep. Thoughts?
Yeah.
I guess.
All right, so then we want to add a fourth condition. I make a motion that we amend. Well, actually, first we're gonna have to put the resolution out there. Sorry. Wait, a parliamentary procedure. Okay, actually, the easiest thing, Rob, when you put this forward, I'm gonna just put the text together that a maximum of 20, so we'll have condition 4.
Okay.
A maximum of 20 rental vehicles will be on site at any one time.
Okay.
Any other questions, concerns?
No.
Anything from the applicants?
No, appreciate your guys' willingness to work with us on this. Just as a, personal point, my wife 2 months ago, while pregnant with 9 months, got into a bit of a car accident. Thankfully, everybody's okay. But, it was really helpful having a rental car facility in our town strip center down here on Long Island, where I was able to very promptly, get a car for a few weeks. And, we really hope that this is, not just seen as a business, but also as something that can be helpful to the town and its citizens. And we certainly hope that it will be. So thanks so much for the time.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so hearing nothing further, I'm going to close the public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-007 and incentive zoning application number IZ 2026-002 Hertz rental, car rental.
Did we give the opportunity to the public to speak?
Oh, that's a good point. Does anyone in the public wish to speak? We kind of had it open, but you're right, I never actually said that. Is there anyone online? Okay, then hearing and seeing none, I'm now going to close the public hearing. All right,
Are we going to amend this or are we just gonna add it?
Rob can make it forward with that change to it.
Okay.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 11-214-2026 to approve the special use permit application number 2026-007 and incentive zoning application number 2026-002 for a rental car facility at 2199 East Henrietta Road. Also adding for condition number 4, a maximum of 20 cars to be at that location at any one time.
Okay, so I'm gonna read, as I usually do with these. There's actually 2 sets of conditions. The first set are A and B, therefore the incentive zoning. The plaza owner will improve the multimodal connection where it comes into the plaza so that it's not immediately adjacent to the dumpsters. That it has striping or sidewalk connecting the trail to the internal plaza sidewalk system, and that it has sufficient lighting with plans to be submitted to the town for approval prior to doing the work. B, the plaza owner will not be required to do more than $1,500 worth of work on the above improvements. And then for the SUP approval, the conditions are that conditions of the above incentive zoning be met prior to the rental car facility receiving a certificate of occupancy, that the rental cars be parked in one of the designated spaces indicated on the application or in an overflow area in the portion of the main parking field to the south or to the west of the car wash, away from any other business in the plaza. 3, that no overnight parking signs be placed in the main parking field. That, in quotes, no overnight parking signs. Be placed in the main parking field situated between the car wash and the proposed rental car facility along the median between the parking field and the access road in front of the Northern Plaza building. And 4, that a maximum of 20 rental vehicles will be allowed on site at any one time.
Second.
So, any other questions, comments? All right, here, you can see none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
No.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Congratulations. If you'd like, I will get you the contact for the Henrietta Chamber. If you want to do a ribbon cutting, they have the giant scissors and ribbon, whole 9 yards. So.
Thanks so much, all.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Next up, we have a public hearing for variance request for Article 10. Request for a 1,920 square foot accessory structure space, including the new 1,536 square foot barn, whereas 980 square feet is allowed for the historic property at 431 Lehigh Station Road. So we've had the discussion regarding this one from an Article 10 standpoint, but we forgot to publicly advertise, which we have to do if you're doing a variance. And so this is that hearing for the variance. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this? I'll note that as part of the Article 10 approval, there is a requirement that they per what the Historic Site Committee talked about, that there would be either screening or a facade to make it either the screening to separate it from the historic Tudor house, or a facade that makes it look like the Tudor house. And why don't you talk about which path you're going?
What I've been doing, and my understanding was to move the lilac bushes that I have property, and I've relocated 3 so far up at the street side. Dug 3 holes today before we got rained on, and so I have roughly 7 or 8 that I'm going to put in that 120 foot stretch from my driveway west.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and the front isn't really applicable. It's full of blue spruce and an Austrian pine.
Right.
So, but I decided, irregardless, that I was going to do those anyway.
Good.
Yeah, the traffic is, I submitted to Gary a couple short videos, 70-second and 90-second, just to kind of get an idea from the other side of the road, so you guys can, if you wanted to review those, you can see what it's looking like. But they're fairly mature lilacs. Been a little stressed moving them. One of the root balls was 700-800 pounds, so.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a beast. But yeah, it's going, and
Right.
so I'm hoping, yeah, the only correction is that there is roughly 383 feet of an existing shed on the property.
Yeah, we just rounded it up to 1920.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what I'm putting up is roughly 1,500 feet.
Yep.
So it's in that same 1,900 square foot range, so if that makes any difference.
No, as long as it's less than whatever, as long as the total of the two is less than 1920.
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's more than enough playhouse, so.
Yep. All right. Other questions, comments?
No, just a comment that, I really, on things like this, really rely on the Historic Site Committee
Mhm.
for their input when I'm
Right.
making my decision. And so I always like to thank Gary for everything that him and his committee does.
Yeah, and I've been in touch with Gary with that.
Yeah, thank you so much for working with the Historic Site Committee in order to,
Yeah, no, I didn't realize some of the restrictions that the town has on
Right.
properties, and
Well, we also appreciate you maintaining your historic structure
Yeah.
because it ties us to the past, which I
Mhm.
think is a great thing in this
Right.
town. So,
yeah, it's a nice little area.
and it's interesting because there aren't a whole lot of Tudor homes.
not in Henrietta.
I don't know of anything else.
I don't
around.
either. We have a lot of cobblestones, but not many Tudors.
Right.
Not in Henrietta. Some other towns, but not.
Well, and unfortunately, a lot of the structures have been, with expansion,
Right.
Route 15, and they're just kind of like stuck out there. And
Yeah.
this is we're kind of hidden away where we are, which is nice.
I'd like to add, thank Gary and the committee, historic committee, for the work they did with this with Mr. Blakely. The Historic District Committee, they're very, very busy.
Mhm.
They do a great job. They put a lot of consideration into what they do, and the mitigation that you've made for your building is commendable too. So thanks.
Yeah, I think what I'm proposing and hope to do is gonna complement what's there already. I mean, I'm pretty thoughtful with how I like things to fit, but I like to save money too.
That's great. Yeah, that's right.
Where possible.
Gary, did you want to use this microphone to talk or I don't assume you came forward to say something.
Gary Goodrich, Chair of the Historic Site Committee. Thank you for the compliments and appreciation. We just wanted to, as a committee, thank Mr. Bradley for his continued stewardship of this property and working with us to mitigate and come within town codes. He actually sent 2 videos that he took to me, which have been reviewed. I sent them to Becky so that you guys could see them if you wanted to. She's got them available so you can see them. But just show that it will be blocking the view from the road, especially when the foliage fills out. So.
Did you want to see the video?
Sure, why don't you play one of them?
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing the audio through
That's
That's
fine.
okay.
my computer.
Yeah, he did a very nice commentary explaining every step of the way so that we knew what was happening.
Not a big deal.
That's fine.
Avoiding traffic well, and
Yeah.
getting being eaten by mosquitoes too. They're very prolific this year.
It has been a wet spring.
So blood, sweat, Not sure of the tiers. Tiers were at the last, at the first,
Yeah.
resolution of the night. No, it looks great.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's, well, because of the, I mean, Lehigh's, well, I guess every street like that. I went down Erie Station the other day. It's the same. Yeah, it's a 35 and everybody drives 50.
That's right.
So it is what it is. You live with it. You know, the good thing is I don't have to go across the street much.
That's great.
Oh, and then I took one from the driveway. So that's kind of
Back towards the road.
looking at the road. And so what I did is where the property is staked, I have 4, 5 or 6 existing lilacs. So I'm taking the ones from my back lot line,
Putting up front.
putting them in between, so it's kind of making a double hedge.
Gotcha. Nice.
Put one closer to the road where that big oak tree is. And that, because that at some point will need to come down. Hopefully I won't be around. Yeah, because it's just at the ditch side, but it hangs out into the road. But it's gorgeous, you know, it's a gorgeous white oak. But yeah, it's gonna fill in nicely. And I'm still gonna have traffic, but it's just gonna be, you know. I used to run that's my leach field too, so I can't come too deep in. Oh, and I have a question. Are sewers being run with all that property, with all the construction at the River Road end?
They are.
But there's not many.
They would get as far as Wiregrass. If you want to sit around, that's up next. So you can hear some of the details of that project.
Where is that?
So if you're going towards East River Road, you hit John Street. The next street is Wiregrass.
Oh, so we'll still be on septics in that.
Yeah, you're
8 or 10.
You're more closer to.
I'm 3 houses from the tracks.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, the problem is it's uphill.
Yes.
So you would have to put in a grinder pump. You know, you could in theory run a lateral over there, but the other thing is then you have to go past all the wetlands. Right.
Oh, where the basin is, the Red Creek.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, 40 years ago, didn't need air conditioning. It was great. Yeah.
Any other comments? Anything from the public? And hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for a variance request per Article 10 for 431 Lehigh Station Road.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 11-215, 2026 to approve the variance request to allow a total of 1,920 square foot for accessory structures and to approve the proposed pole barn on the historic property located at 431 Lehigh Station Road under Article 10.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley?
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford?
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek?
Aye.
Councilmember Owens?
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz?
Aye. Congratulations and thanks again.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Take care. Next up, I have a public hearing for proposed James Riverview subdivision parcel F, cluster development per New York State Town Law, Section 278.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Peter Byers from BME Associates on behalf of the property owner and applicant, James Riverview LLC. As mentioned, we have submitted a cluster subdivision application to the planning board for the property that is 91 acres located on the south side of Lehigh Station Road. It's right across from the Wiregrass Parkway intersection. I think we have a rendering. There we go. It's 91 acres, as you can see there. It occupies a lot of frontage along Lehigh Station Road. It's bounded to the west by what is now being developed as the River Edge Townhome Community. To the south portion of the property is encumbered by the transmission lines, an RG&E easement. And to the south are other lands of James Riverview that actually back up or front on Brooks Road. And then to the east are other lands. What we are proposing here, the property is zoned residential R115. Why we are proposing the cluster subdivision is because of the main focus is to bring a housing product online that the developer believes will be marketable, to bring it in at a marketable price point. We prepared a conventional zoning plan for the property per the R115 zoning. It would yield 74 lots per code. We're proposing to cluster those lots on the west side for several reasons. First and foremost, it is the developable portion of the property, as in its upland. It is served by infrastructure of water, sewer, and highway. And also it's compatible with the adjoining land use to the west, which is the River's Edge Townhome Community. This project would place an open space or conservation easement over 76 acres, which is basically what you see on this rendering that is not rendered. It's the bulk of the property, obviously over 80%. That property is primarily, a large amount of it is a DEC and federal wetland. However, there are uplands on the east side that could be developed. However, we're proposing to place those in the conservation easement also, such that all development would be pushed to the west. This will therefore provide a permanent buffer and protection to the wetlands. Red Creek, as was mentioned, flows south to north through this area. No disturbance of that. And it would preserve the lands on the east side, thus providing a permanent buffer to the lands to the east and to the south. The proposed units would be duplex units. They'd be for sale homes. They would just have a 0-foot side setback along the firewall of the duplex buildings, but the houses and the lots will be subdivided, and the resident would be the owner. These are not rentals. The lots would be the proposed lots would be 60 feet wide. 32 feet wide. They're duplexes, 65 foot for the total unit. As I mentioned, it's served by water and sewer. We're here this evening because of the clustering provision and the need for the town board to allow for the clustering and basically the disposition of the open space. At your last meeting, it is a type 1 action. Because of the size of the property. And we did initiate a coordinated review. The town board has declared their intent to be lead agency. We're still waiting for those 30 days to pass. And I know we'll be coming back on July 1st for another hearing as it relates to that. And we also are scheduled to appear before the planning board at their meeting next week. As part of, because we did submit a concept plan application because of the clustering provisions. I will answer that other question though. Part of the reason too we're not developing the property to the east is the sewer that served this portion, which is at Wiregrass and Lehigh Station Road. That sewer cannot get under Red Creek where it crosses Lehigh Station Road. It's just not deep enough, and that's what prohibits the extension of the sewer further east. Okay, so with that, we could answer any questions that you may have.
So before I go to questions, I'll just fill people in since I had some preliminary views of this. So this is more the development to the west of this. Those are entry level homes. So those are the quadplexes, so they're smaller, and they did that through that incentive program to where they They got additional density for making them, you know, the 12 to 1,400 square feet with a first floor bedroom. So that, as I like to put it, not only can they be a starter home, they can be an ender home for someone looking to downsize. This is more mid-tier. So it's sort of the next product level up. And so they wanted them to put the two next to each other rather than just have this huge community of the entry level. They wanted to have a mix of the two products. So that's the proposed, but it's really going to be closely integrated with what's going on to the west.
Okay.
And I assume the green, that's the is that a retention?
Yeah, the different color greens, so to
Yes,
speak. Yeah, that would be the
still light green, stormwater. Yeah,
stormwater management facility.
Yep.
So Peter, you said 76 houses could be built there if under the current code.
Under the R115 code. So that's what establishes the density.
That's excluding those wetlands though, right? Because
it excludes the wetlands, correct. And the planning board will review that next week. So you'll have the benefit of that when we come back on the 1st of July.
And how many are you proposing? 76 total?
No, 72.
72. Okay, I missed that.
No, that's fine.
72 units. So
correct.
72 units, 36 structures.
Correct. And it'll be 72 lots because they will be subdivided.
And the road, does it form a four-way with Wiregrass, or is it offset?
The proposed subdivision street will form a four-way, the fourth leg of the intersection with Wiregrass, and then also at the southern end, it would be able to connect into River's Edge development. And we know from seeing the approved preliminary plan for River's Edge, there's been a provision in River's Edge to make this connection. We lined our connection up with River's Edge, so there will be connection through those two neighborhoods once they're built. The property is part of the East River Road Corridor study that was prepared by the town. I know the supervisor knows exactly how many years ago. And thus it will participate in that mitigation fee program.
Right.
So, will there be any other amenities? I know it's early. Any other amenities to these 74 units these 36 units that are going in? Any clubhouse, anything like that?
No, there would be no community building, no pool, nothing like that. It'll just be a fee simple residential subdivision.
Okay. And about what kind of square footage you thinking?
I believe the units, because we had that discussion, if it would qualify for the incentive, it does not. My understanding is the units will range in size 1680 square feet to 1820. Okay. And they will be 3-bedroom, second story bedrooms.
Okay.
The 3 bedrooms will be in the second story. So that was the other reason they didn't, for lack of a better term, qualify for the incentive.
And I do apologize for asking you to repeat yourself. As there was a couple of things I think I missed. Was these are for sale, not for rent?
Correct.
And what was the price point? These were supposed to be something more along the lines of a starter middle income type home?
These will start in the range of they'll start at mid 300s, 350 or so.
Okay.
Okay. And I also will tell you, unfortunately, the applicant couldn't be here. They will be here on July 1st.
Okay.
They will also be at the planning board meeting next week. So I say that out of respect to the board. They do understand the forms, but they will be there on the 1st also. So any other follow-up questions, you'll have your opportunity.
Yeah, there'll be no decisions tonight. This is just the preliminary.
Just a prelim.
We're 21 days into the 30-day cycle.
That's right.
Actually, maybe 22 days.
Yeah.
Since we're a Thursday.
Given that, is there any neighborhood meetings planned or anything along those lines?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. And what's the area zoned for?
It's R115 zoning today.
Okay, thank you.
How big is that conservation easement? How big is that?
It would be 76.5 acres plus or minus.
What's the disposition of the land?
So that's what they're pursuing now. Whether there is an entity such as the Genesee Land Trust or somebody that may have interest in it, given the size of the parcel.
Sure.
It's a a piece of magnitude, and also I'll use the term, the ecological value it provides. So it could have value from a standpoint for an agency, or when I say it, a group like the Land Trust could be interested.
Right.
The other, the other end of it would be spectrum would be it would have to be retained somehow into private ownership with a conservation easement versus a flat out dedication to a nonprofit. The one thing to understand though is with this being a cluster subdivision, I'm going to kind of speak for the planning board. In fact, there will be a restriction. There will be no further subdivision of the property allowed, because we're basically taking the allowed density of the property and we're just putting it all on the west side. So
Right.
got it.
Probably a planning board question, but are they gonna have sidewalks in this, do you know, in the community?
I don't know.
Typically, they do require it for the main feeder. Like if there was a cul-de-sac, they don't typically require them on the cul-de-sac, but that main feeder road. No, they only require it typically on one side.
That's right.
Some developers like to put them on both sides, but they typically only require it on one side.
Do you know, are there sidewalks planned for?
There are, same thing.
Okay. Then it makes sense then to connect them.
Yeah, it's on the main, like I said, on the main road. There, on that one, there were a couple cul-de-sacs, if I remember, and those didn't have sidewalks, but the main through roads did.
Okay.
That's why I was.
Yep.
Okay.
But that, yes, that is something that our planning board does require.
Right. Okay.
And the plan for the ongoing care of the detention pond there?
So that will be something we will discuss with the engineering department as to whether that facility is dedicated to the town or whether the facility is put on private property and then is encumbered with an easement, the town standard stormwater maintenance and inspection easement.
So typically the way we handle that is we would want a private landowner who, to take care of the grass around it, but we typically take responsibility for the stormwater portion.
Correct.
Simply because, even when you have an HOA or an apartment complex, they don't have the equipment to deal with if it needs to be flushed, stuff like that. But we also don't want our crews to be taking on all these ponds. So if it's right, so it's just, we take the stormwater portion of it, and they're responsible for the maintenance. So like, if it's a Genesee Land Trust, they would take care of it. Although to be honest, those stormwaters work better if you do not mow them.
And likely, well, I don't even want to say likely. What will happen here, because of its, proximity to the wetland, it will be designed as a wetland pond so that it actually will become part of the wetland.
Right.
Okay.
Will it be a HOA any discussion?
I do not, at this time, there's not one anticipated because of the fact that it'll be a fee simple residential subdivision. So in other words, the resident will own the house and his lot. It's really a traditional single family subdivision. It's just one, the
duplexes instead of
sharing the wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
The anticipated design plans of the actual structures there, will that be at the planning board meeting when you present next week?
We can bring them and we can bring them here on the 1st also, if you'd like to see those.
I mean, they'll have some of the preliminary stuff, but right, yeah, because typically it goes that they'll get the subdivision done first and then they'll do the architectural review and the.
Yeah, that's actually a good plan. Sorry to interrupt. Is that we're also just at concept plan review because we actually have this board has to complete the seeker process. Then we'll submit for preliminary, and that's usually when we get into the architecture. But we can bring them on the 1st. I know the developer.
I was going to say there's a certain style that they typically have. So I guess I was anticipating just, these are the styles that we typically use from.
Yep.
I guess the other question would be, and you know, you can bring this next time, is are the styles going to like be very similar to the ones that are currently going up at the river's edge?
I believe they are. It's the same builder. It's
Right.
Rhino. Will be building.
So I would imagine that, but that would be a question that you can anticipate that
Mhm.
want to know.
One of the things I will recommend when they come here is that they pay attention to the backfill of the laterals under the road so they don't end up with the roller coaster.
Yes.
That's the one that
Yeah.
they had all kinds of problems because it was improper fill.
Right.
They've been fixing it, but it'd be a lot better.
Yeah, I don't think they want to relive that.
No, you're much better off doing it right the first time.
Yeah, just got a question out of curiosity here, you know,
Yeah.
the duplex.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always used to duplex. It's owned by one person and either they rent both one units out or they rent one unit out. So you need a new duplex. 30 years from now, they need a new roof. The one neighbor, hey, I don't have the money to put a new roof on. The other neighbor says, yeah, we need a new roof. How does that work?
So it's two ways. One is with the actual design of the unit itself, such that the roofs are not shared. So it is simply a firewall. Okay.
And
But
it goes,
for that reason,
it goes up it goes through the.
yes,
it
the
goes
firewall goes all the way up. So there won't be a continuous roof. You will see two distinct facades. Yeah, but no, it's a fair question.
But
Right.
just always kind of curious when I heard duplexes, two different people.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that was a model, you know,
Yeah.
well, you go to row houses, you go to a lot of the older neighborhoods, that's how it was. And there is a push, in fact, from that rock thing,
Mhm.
that there's a push to bring these back because to get a house that size as a standalone house, it'd be a lot more than 300, you know,
Yeah.
300.
Yeah, it would.
And I will also note that we won't hold you to that number because by the time these get their certificate of occupancy, home prices will probably have gone up. I can tell you construction prices have
Yes,
gone up.
that's right.
So one of the things, if I remember correctly, the plan is when you cross that RG&E access road, is the RG&E access road all the way out to Lehigh Station going to remain, or are they going to essentially their access road will now be off of this new road?
Now, the current access road will remain and be designated for RG&E's use, yes.
Is that your choice or their choice?
I believe it's our choice, but I will look into that.
Because you're crossing, it just seems to me that it's superfluous and I just think that there's potential for kids causing trouble going down there. It just seems to me it would make much more sense. If you need help with RG&E, I'm happy to weigh in on that. You can let them know that the town has an interest. To me, it would make, especially since that's going to be a town road.
You would like to see it.
We would like to see that start there and they can figure out if they want to, you know, I'll let you guys have the discussion as to, I assume they own that road, or I don't know if they have an access easement on it.
To look, to be honest.
Whether they're gonna sell that to, I'll leave that up to them. But the point is, to me, I just see that as a potential problem if it stays there between the two residential. Because there'll be essentially be houses on either side of it.
Right. That's right.
And I know this is preliminary, you said they were coming July 1st. I definitely want to hear more about I think I see the proposed wetland mitigation area and how that's going to be all the wetland stuff, because since that's close to a wetland, like how that's going to be addressed. It's pretty tricky. Wetlands are pretty tricky. And so any construction can kind of impact that area.
You're outside the buffer.
But they are.
Right?
No, we are not. So
yeah. So
this is evolving. And I can give you, and we can go in greater detail because actually something took place yesterday at the state level. In the letter of intent, this plan does propose encroachment into a portion of the wetland buffer and a small portion of the wetland itself. And it is coming off of Lehigh Station Road to get into the property, okay? But what we're doing is is New York State, 15 months ago, they issued general permits for housing and wetland permits. And it was all part of the governor's, the various things the governor's office is doing to encourage housing. Okay. What these permits do, they've been in a draft version, they've been available for residential development. They will allow a certain amount of disturbance within the buffer and within the wetlands. Don't quote me on this. That it cannot exceed 5 total acres, and it's based on, they have a formula, of course. And what it does is it basically says you can disturb up to a certain amount of acreage as long as you mitigate it at a 2-to-1 ratio. And on our plan, we identified the mitigation area. And basically, you can apply for the permit, and in theory, by DEC, as long as you comply with their stormwater regs and whatnot, it's called a general permit, because if you show compliance, they issue the permit, because it's de facto, the state more or less has said, look, we will allow disturbance up to a certain amount if you're doing a housing project. Okay. Point being is those permits were just authorized yesterday. They were finally issued yesterday. If you go on the DEC website, it says effective June 10th. So we now have the final versions of that information. So we've got to go through and run those calculations, because that is an important part of this. So that's why I say we definitely will have more information.
But the vast majority of that's all out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just that little finger that comes where you're coming in off the road, right?
That is correct. I think what we showed on our map is, on our map, we even calculated, I think we're showing up, I think it's 2.7 acres of total disturbance, which is primarily the buffer area. Okay. And the wetland itself is, I think it's like over 60 acres.
Right. Well, and then as you mentioned, your pond will become part of that wetland.
That's right.
As well.
And what sort of traffic study is going to be involved with this?
So, as I mentioned, and we had this discussion with Mr. Martin,
Mhm.
is this parcel was included within the East River Road traffic impact study area, and it was studied based on its R115 zoning. That's 76 units.
Gotcha.
So we're complying with that same number of units. So basically, we will calculate the trip generations, the peak hour trip generations. And there's a formula within that study that says based on X number, the number of trips you have, you will contribute this amount of money. Because the point is, the improvements are of a regional scale. And at this instance, it's about, at a certain point in time, there will be turn lanes at John Street extension, or John Street, I can't even remember, and possibly a signal light. So the town, the county are collecting the funds from that incrementally as developers. So last guy in doesn't get stuck with it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So that's how we've addressed traffic.
Well, and some of this will actually, where this is more likely to go, is to reimburse for the work done at the intersection of East River and Lehigh Station. So that intersection was greatly improved. That whole corridor was greatly improved. And as Peter noted, it takes into account all of the traffic that was anticipated for full build out. So there's definitely enough room in the full build out. What we then do, and just, I'm going to let you guys know that there may be some change. So there was, I'll get to that in a second, but basically the base seeker mitigation is handled by, we have historical data, just looking at the existing properties, when people, what percentage of cars leaving a site on Bailey Road or Lehigh Station Road, which percent turn east and which percent goes west. And so let's say they're adding 120 cars, and historically, I'll make the math easy, 50% go west. So that would be considered 60 cars. It would be multiplied by I think it's $800 per trip. And it's only during either the peak travel times. But if it adds, 40 trips in the morning and 20 trips in the afternoon, that's a total of 60 times 800. That goes to a pool of money. The money's actually already been spent. because we weren't gonna wait till the full build out.
Right.
They did the work now. And so when the money comes in, we turn it over to the county to reimburse them for the work they did. Now, what I was saying is a potential modification right now, and I don't know whether when Rogue County DOT will try to do that to this group, but I brought it up because for the folks on Wiregrass, they have a requirement that if a traffic light ever has to go in, they have to pay for it. Well, that's really problematic for, so for instance, what are you going to do with these homeowners that they're going to pay for it? The developer is going to be gone by that. So what I've proposed to the county is instead of doing that, we just count 100% of the traffic.
Yeah.
And then that money goes towards the future signal, whether it ends up at Wiregrass or John Street. So we do this for both the stuff on Wiregrass, and we do it for anything new on John Street, that they pay essentially 100% of the traffic. And that way that access. The interesting thing, someone said, well, what if those businesses don't come in? I said, well, then you won't need the traffic light. And so it's a better way of handling it than on the IFCOM, because to give you an example, so 2 businesses are in there now on Wiregrass. When they come in, they're okay with paying that because that's part of they'll complain about it, but they'll pay it, but the thing comes in 10 years from now, who knows if it's going to be the same owners for those businesses. A new owner is not going to come in and say, what do you mean I have to pay for this light that I've been here forever, So it makes the seeker mitigation just makes so much more sense, which is why we did it in the first place for East River Road. So the other way you do it is through a transportation development district, which then, oh, by the way, that also hits, from a taxation standpoint, everybody in there. And that's not fair to, some of these old farm homes. The road wouldn't have had to be upgraded if it was just the old farmhouses. So it makes sense to put that burden on the new businesses coming in, but to do it equally. So it just makes a lot of sense. So I just let you know, I'm trying to talk them into that so that you don't have to have this thing hanging over the head of the developer. It just makes so much more sense. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you, Peter, for coming in. I'm going to close this session of the public hearing, but we will keep the public hearing open for the next meeting. And we look forward to them bringing in the stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have a public hearing for a proposed local law to amend Chapter 224 of the Henrietta Town Code to update regulations pertaining to electronic reader board signs. So the change in law currently, reader boards can only change, I think it's once per hour. The other thing is electronic reader boards. According to the current sign code, they also have to be associated with the business, and they have to turn off within a half an hour or an hour of the business opening or closing. Well, we don't do that. We have electronic reader boards, right? And they don't shut off. So we're getting rid of those restrictions. And, electronic reader boards have evolved greatly. We've got there's potentially going to be something we'll be looking down in the future in terms of, there's folks who want to put in the electronic reader type of, billboards. So that they can change periodically. For us, the only place I consider them, we could put them, enable them, and we're not doing that now, by the way. I'll explain why we're doing the law now in a minute, but there are, we could have them along 390 through the industrial corridor. So under New York State or under the federal, I think it's interstate law. I don't know if it's state or federal, but as long as the commercial or industrial district existed prior to, I don't remember what the year is, like 1950 or 1960, then you can have them in there. Okay. And so that for us, that's from about Highland, so the 390 corridor from Highland up to the Pound Line. I, again, don't know whether we're gonna decide to do that, but just letting you know, that's where we could allow that to potentially happen. Where we are seeing reader boards going right now is on the Genesee Valley Regional Market property. They are immune to zoning. So it doesn't matter whether they're in allowed use or not, they can put them on there. Now they do work with us. I asked them not to put them on Jefferson Road, so they're actually going in on Clay Road. But they do have to follow our sign code. And so one of the things we had originally talked about a 1 minute minimum dwell time. The advertisers would really love 10 seconds. And that New York State DOT requires a minimum of 6 seconds, so 10 seconds greater than that. But that's about the time they typically change from one message to another, or one advertiser to another. Obviously, they get more revenue that way. There's potentially more, I'm going to call it impact or annoyance, whatever you want to call it, for our residents. So my thinking was, if there's more impact and there's also more revenue for them, that sign fee should be higher. So the local law doesn't address it sort of addresses the fee, and that the way we wrote it is that the minimum dwell time is based on what's in your sign permit up to it can't go shorter than the 10 seconds. But this way, what we would do is our normal sign fees that we have today, that would be a 1 minute minimum dwell time. And if they want to go shorter than that, they would have to pay the higher fee. So that's how this was written. In the resolution that approves the law, it would also adopt the fee schedule for the faster rate. We talked about the possibility of having a couple different time rates, and talking with the folks who typically do this, the folks who, so I know a couple of these companies that put these types of billboards up. And in talking with our building department, they didn't want a big menu. We wanted either the base sign, which is 1 minute, or the 10-second expedite. So that's what we're looking at. So discussion.
Well, first thing, the ones that are going by the market, make sure everybody knows that they're not that we had no choice in it. I don't know how, you're great on social media and
right.
I'd make sure, because I know we're going to hear about that.
I'm sure we are. And one of the things that I'm actually happy about that, though, is that is going to be a great test for when we consider them for 390. I'd be curious what the outcry is. It's more accepted now. In fact, like if you saw an electronic reader board just went up on the old Southtown Plaza sign. And so it's part of Duncan Bright's sign, but I'm sure they're going to want to go to the 10-second.
Oh, they weren't happy at the zoning board when they found out.
I know.
So what about the two signs that are over by West? Do you think they're gonna do anything with those two
Over
signs?
by where?
They're on West Marina Road.
Oh, the two
Yeah,
built.
Methodist Hill.
Right. Right now, those are not electronic reader boards, and I don't know that they have any means to put them up. In theory, someone can come in and put up a new thing every minute.
Get all the sign guides.
But those are the only two billboards we have in town that I'm aware of. Independent billboards are the two that are on West Henrietta Road. It's northbound, just over the hill, just before you get to Methodist Hill Road.
I don't know if they'll redo them.
I don't know.
Yeah.
When you talk about the fee, is that your permit fee? Is that how often they have to renew that? Is that
I believe it's every 3 years.
3 years. Okay, I think that's what you said.
Kevin, if I'm incorrect on that.
Yeah, it's every 5 years.
Oh, 5 years. Sorry, 5 years. Okay. And so basically the idea, so a billboard is $4 per, well, any regular sign is $4 per square foot. what we talked about, what I'm proposing, and again, this isn't part of the local law, but it is part of when we get to the resolution, that we increase that to $5 per square foot for the electronic reader boards, and it's just an additional $3 per square foot if you're going to go to the 10 seconds. So it's essentially double what the old sign permit fee was. I will tell you that, and we've talked about this before, because it also covers the signs on people's buildings, and some of them complain. And the classic was an establishment, I won't mention his name, but he's here in Henrietta and also in Webster. And he was complaining about the sign fee and that the sign fees are so much less in Webster and they don't have to pay him. And I said, I went and pulled up his parcel in Webster and pulled up the parcel here. The delta in his town taxes was greater than what he pays in the sign fee. I pointed this out to him and said, oh, and by the way, you don't have to pay that sign fee every 5 years. And he goes, never mind. This goes back to what Mike always talks about, is that your tax break is building in Henrietta.
Yeah.
Because the taxes are so much lower. So, there are some people who complain about the sign fees, but I point out to them that it's still their total cost from a taxation and fee standpoint is way, way lower than other municipalities. So, but the good thing is that with those sign fees, and building permit fees and fire permit fees and, the ones on the, for site plan and all those fees essentially pay for the operation of that west wing, which to me makes a lot of sense. Why should residents pay for the operation of the department that primarily supports commercial? Now, it also supports residential, don't get me wrong, but when you look at the magnitude, it's predominantly commercial, especially when you get to the fire code side of things, because commercial buildings have to be re-inspected every year. So, that's one of the things a lot of people, as we get more and more buildings, you have to have more and more fire marshals, because they have to hit every commercial building every year. So, I think, to me, it's the right way to do it, that the people who are building are the people who support the building department. The people who are planning support the planning department. So,
When was the last time the sign fee went up? I know we're proposing to raise a little bit here, but do we know when?
Do you know that answer, Kevin?
It's been $4 a square foot since I've been here, and that's 16 years.
Wow. That's
It's been a while.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we can do is, if we want to, we're working also on, I'm probably about halfway through trying to update all of the sign code, because it's
been talking about that. Yeah,
it's been years, I know, but
and I didn't mean it.
No, I do mean it that way, but it is spaghetti code.
Wow.
It's been tough to unscramble and get everything. And then what typically happens is I'll get a period where I make a bunch of progress, and then a whole bunch of stuff comes up and it gets put on the back burner. So, but one of the things we can take a look at that we do every every budget year, is that's one of the things we look at is, are there any of the fee schedules that need to be updated?
Right.
So we can take a look at that. Any other questions, comments on the reader board sign changes, rule changes? All right, then, hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for the proposed local law to amend chapter 224 of the Henrietta Town Code to update regulations pertaining to electronic reader board signs. Next up, we have a public hearing for a proposed local law to amend the code of the town of Henrietta to update the provisions therein to conform to the New York State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code. What that means is, previously we had stretch code, energy stretch code. The new energy codes today include all the stuff that was in that stretch code, and so the references to that stretch code are out of date. So what we're saying now is, instead of having to conform to the stretch code, you have to conform to the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code, including the energy codes. So this one's pretty straightforward. It's just, again, backing out of the stretch code because the energy codes are more stringent than the stretch code. Any other questions, comments on this one? Then hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for the proposed local law to amend the code of the town of Henrietta to update the provisions therein to conform to the New York State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Codes. That concludes our public hearing. Can I get my next resolution?
Yeah. Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 11-216/2026 to approve and or ratify the following agreements.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 11-217/2026 to authorize bills payable and any associated contracts or agreements for May 21, 2026 through today, June 11th, 2026.
Second. So this check run includes about $172,000 for the Viscount Drive Sewer Project, $136,000 for a payment towards employee benefits, paving and gutter reconstruction for about $99,000, and capital projects about $27,000. That includes the bandstand, the dog shelter, and says the clubhouse. I don't know if that's, oh, that might be for the architectural services. Any other questions or comments?
Nope.
Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
I would just on that, I did the bills today and just want to thank Linda and anytime I have a question, she's right there for me and very helpful. And yeah.
So I didn't have a chance. It got crazy this week. Didn't have a chance to split the resolution up. Do we want to just the next one is the Pride resolution. Do we want to? We'll just each take a clause and just go around. Each
That's
person
fine.
will read a clause. I'll start, and then Rob, then Mike, Christine, Millie will just go around. So,
Okay.
fellow board members, I have resolution 11-218/2026. Whereas the town of Henrietta has adopted a motto of a town for all due to its highly diverse composition of residents and the town's belief in equal opportunity for all people, regardless of gender, race, creed, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity and expression. And
whereas the town believes that the diverse population leads to a vibrant community and that greater diversity in leadership leads to better decision-making. And
whereas in recognition of Pride Month, the town board wishes to celebrate contributions the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ community have made to the cultural, civic, economic, and overall success of the town of Henrietta. And
whereas the town board believes that increased awareness and education can help to end discrimination and prejudice, and
whereas, especially in light of recent events, including laws in some communities eroding the rights of members of the LGBTQ+ community, or to ban books that include members of the LGBTQ+ community, the town wishes to reaffirm its commitment to equality under the law, such that individuals in the community have the same opportunities and are free from discrimination in all aspects of life, including employment, housing, and services.
Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Henrietta proclaims June 15th through June 22nd, 2026 as Pride Week in the town of Henrietta to celebrate the LGBTQ plus community in Henrietta, the diversity that makes Henrietta strong, and to reaffirm the town's commitment to working towards equal rights for all.
Further, it be resolved that the town of Henrietta will fly a rainbow flag, pride flag in support of Pride Week at the town hall, beginning with a pride flag raising ceremony held on Monday, June 15th at 5 p.m. on the front lawn of the town hall, followed by Pride Festival at the Dome Arena beginning at 5:30, with all interested people invited and welcome to attend.
And Rob, you get the second.
I second that.
All right. So as you'll know, this year we decided we've had 2 of the last 3 years, we've had rained out and had to do an emergency move into the rec center. So this year we decided to plan ahead and use the Dome facility. It'll be just a great environment, I think. We've got the DJ coming set up. There's a lot of space for tables. We're gonna have people come in through the one garage door off of the main. Instead of coming through the main entrance where the ticket office is, essentially, they're gonna go straight into the Dome. And the reason is on the concrete next to that, we're gonna have all the food trucks parked. So in the past, when the food trucks were here, a lot of people didn't realize them because at the rec center, they were out behind. People came in the front and missed them. So now they're going to be walking right past the food truck. So we figured that'll help our food truck vendors. And then, the one thing we were hoping for that didn't quite pan out because apparently there's an issue with the programming. The lights in the ceiling, they're LEDs, and our goal was to turn them alternating red. You basically set up a rainbow around the ceiling. Unfortunately, the way they're set up right now, you can't do an entire bar. For whatever reason, I can do the lights down the bar. So we're going to play with it that day and see what we can do. But that'll leave a goal for next year. Apparently some of the software or the addresses got cleared out. And so they're trying to find the software that allows you to put those addresses back in, but I just don't see it happening before Monday. So, but, I'll give a shout out to Courtney, who's done a fabulous job in terms of lining folks up. We've got more tables than ever. That's one of the other great things is we can fit more tables in here than we could in the rec center. In fact, some of the rec center tables, they were 2 layers deep and it made it hard for people to get to the back table. Now we can do a ring around the whole thing. There are tons of restroom facilities, just the whole 9 yards. So there's an area off to the side, which will be for where they're going to do like the library reading. So it'll be a bit quieter, especially for kids who might have issues with loud noises and lights and stuff like that. So I think the layout's going to be great. I think it's funny. Somebody said, "Oh, you're trying to hide it in the Dome." I'm like, "No, we're not trying to hide it in the Dome. We just, the other thing that's great, if you bet in the rec center, because the roof, when they built the place, they didn't put any soundproofing in the roof.
Right.
The acoustics are horrible in there. You get reverberation off the mic, and I always say it sounds like the adults in Peanuts.
Yeah.
In the Dome, the instant you walk into there, all the background noise disappears because the acoustics in there are phenomenal. So the DJ is very excited to be setting up there. He hated the acoustics in the rec center. So
I think we can all agree with that.
yeah. So I think it's going to be awesome, and I hope it's like I said, we love being out on the front lawn, and that's why we're going to do the flag raising there. But like today was a perfect example.
Right.
Had we been out there,
Yep.
it would have been washed away.
Yep.
So, we'd much rather plan ahead, so.
I've also heard in the past from individuals that prefer being inside when it's really, really hot out there, particularly people who are a little older. Just the heat just can really get to them, or the sun. So I think either way, whether it's, one of those wonderfully 95-degree weather in June kind of days, or if it's one of those downpour kind of days, I think either way, the dome will help help people come out and enjoy it a little bit more.
And the dome is air conditioned.
Yes.
Good.
So this is always a great event. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town on business that day and won't be able to attend. So I'm sure it's going to be a great event. And Courtney, or they
And their team, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
do a
Yeah.
great job.
Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I always like to share that whenever I think about the raising of the pride flag, first of all, I think about the widespread support that we've had in this community for the raising of the pride flag, that people who live in Henrietta really do value our diversity. And by and large, this is a bipartisan thing, that people just really want to support all of the members of the community that live in Henrietta, whether they're part of the LGBTQ plus, or whether they're part of our new American communities. We all just come together and want to celebrate and support. And I also think about a young man that came to me some years ago to get his GED. And he was clearly a very bright, motivated young man. And I'm like, why didn't you graduate high school? I asked him. And he said, he attended here in Rush Henrietta, and the kids in the school had found out that he was gay. And the bullying was so aggressive that he felt unsafe. And I always think about him, because I don't want any kids to feel unsafe in Henrietta. I don't want any families to feel unsafe in Henrietta. You are welcome here, and we love having our diverse community. Henrietta is a town for all, and we want everyone to feel safe and welcome. And this is our small way of making that a very public statement that you should feel safe and welcome in Henrietta.
Very well
Here,
said.
here.
Yeah. I just want to, everybody's saying exactly what I'm saying. I think it's really important nowadays that we are restating this. I think this is a really important resolution, kind of emphasizing that we are a town for all, and kind of practicing what we preach, welcoming everybody, because it's unfortunate that just even in our county there are still challenges. And I'm so have a lot of proud of Henrietta and how we accept diversity in all forms, and that this is something we need to kind of continue to emphasize. And I love this. It's going to probably be my third year attending this. I'm excited for it. It's always a great event. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Anything else? And hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Fellow board members, I have resolution 11-219, 2026, to approve a special event permit for Loving Cup to serve alcohol at the concert series being held at the Park Point on June 12th, July 10th, and August 7th.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Oh, sorry, that's me. Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 11-220-2026 to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement between the town of Henrietta and the Rush Henrietta Central School District for cross parcel parking and utilities from Lookup Park.
Second.
So, there are athletic fields on the far eastern edge of, Roth Junior High School. They're quite far from the parking. And part of the reason is a tributary of Red Creek separates them from that parking. And so what has been happening is people have been parking in the adjacent Lookup Park, and they've been using a lot of the spaces that are normally used by people going to the driving range, which has created some parking conflicts. So I spoke with Anthony Monturo, who's the assistant superintendent at the school, about the idea of putting in parking on the south side of the park road, which essentially, because of where it is and close to the parking field, they'd actually be across the parcel boundary. So they'd be half in the park and half in the school, hence this intermunicipal agreement. But basically, we put them in just with millings like we did for the dog park. They've worked out great. They're going to put this on. He's not sure if it'll be on the June school board meeting, but it'll definitely, if not, it'll be on the July one. So we'll get this signed. The second part about the utilities, right now they're using the restroom that's over at the driving range. It's just a single stall, so it can create backups if there's a large population there. So we've talked to the school district about, they're looking into the possibility of, like we've done at some of our parks, putting in a restroom facility there with a leach field. But there is a water main and a sewer main right up that road. So it'd be real convenient for them just to connect to that. So this also essentially allows them to connect to that and go from there. So any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 11-221 /2026 to accept a letter of credit for the Winter Garden subdivision section 2.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
How many units are they putting in there?
Mr. Martin, can you answer that question? How many units?
And this is for the, I think it's like 38-ish, 40, somewhere in that area.
Okay. Well, they do some nice work. They
do.
Okay, just was curious.
Yep.
Thank you.
Just so with that whole thing with the single entrance, we did finally, the state, it's above the limit to where they would need to be either provide a second access, which is difficult because of the creeks and wetlands and everything else nearby, or be individually sprinkled. The original ruling from the state is not only would the new houses have to be sprinkled, all the existing houses would be sprinkled. We're like, are you nuts? We finally got the state to back off on that. Well, us and supporting the builder, the builder did the major effort, but we wrote letters of support saying this is crazy.
Right.
And so they finally got it to now only the new houses going up will be sprinkled.
Okay.
So it was just such a ridiculous ruling that yes, for people who've lived in their houses for 20 years, we're going to come back and add sprinklers. Right. So anyway, any further comments, questions? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have Resolution 11-222, 2026, to reappoint Sybil Montero and Samara Hamed as student members to the Youth Development Advisory Committee.
Second. So I'd like to thank both these students, have already served and they'd like to continue serving. So we appreciate their commitment to the community and supporting their fellow youth. Any other questions, comments?
Just as the rep to the youth board, I can just attest to the high quality of all of the students that serve on that board. They're just really outstanding young people.
Thank you. Hearing and see nothing further, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members have Resolution 11-223, 2026, to accept a proposal from Precision Safe Sidewalks LLC for the grinding of hazardous sidewalks in the Berkshire subdivision.
Second.
So it was brought to our attention that there's been some shifts in the sidewalks. So they went out and marked them all, painted them all to warn people, and they will be grinding down any of those that are greater than a half-inch displacement. So it's a significant number of them. Our proposed to pay for this will be coming from the allocation of the fund balance in excess of contingency. So you'll see that at our next meeting. It's essentially one of the things we always allocate from the fund balance is a bunch of that towards next year's. But I've been getting together wish list items from everybody. So we'll have that, like I said, at the next meeting. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Fellow board members, I have Resolution 11-224, 2026, to authorize the purchase of desktop computer systems per the 2026 adopted budget.
Second.
So unfortunately, with the increasing costs in this market, some of it due to tariffs, general inflation, but also with the large growth in AI data centers, buying up a bunch of computing components, especially memory, prices have gone through the roof. So whereas we in the past would have gotten 12 computers for this budgeted amount, we're only getting 9. And actually we probably would have gotten more than 12, but it is what it is. We can't really put off the purchases. So there'll be a couple computers that we'll just have to live with another year. But this is part of our normal rotation. So the good news is we don't have any of these ancient, when I first got here, there were some ancient desktops. Andrew Stewart and the IT team have put together a good program to keep our, at a reasonable rate to keep them refreshed and up to date. So
Yeah, I have to really congratulate both you and Andrew and his department, because there have been some significant improvements over the course of the past 8 to 10 years in terms of all of our technology and our tech security and everything. It is just night and day. We're not killing trees every night.
no. Any other questions or comments? I'm hearing and seeing none. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford, Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have Resolution 11-225, 2026, to appoint Jennifer Black as an additional marriage officer.
Second.
So the reason it's additional is Janet Howland is going to be here for a little while longer. So that will allow Jennifer to be working alongside. And then when Janet officially performs her last ceremony and heads down south, Jennifer will be the sole marriage officer.
Fantastic.
Any other questions or comments?
I think Jennifer will be a great marriage officer.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there any continuing ed to do this? What do you do to become a officer? You have to do any training?
You do, well, you do have to get certified from there's I forgot what they call it. Ordained clergy. It's something
Like
like
officiant.
yeah, there's an officiant. Well, there's one that was a temporary officiant. That anyone, but there's a higher level to essentially be a full-time officiant.
Oh, great.
There actually is not any specific training required to be a marriage officer, just an appointment by the town board.
Oh,
Okay.
But you do have to be an officiant, right?
There's no requirement other than appointment of by the town board. Well, you do have to be over 18. So
I thought they used to have to, because like Jan had the one from.
nope, that was a separate thing before she was. If you want to do a civil ceremony, it's be the appointment by the town board. Sort of similar like a town justice. There's no official training required. Just being a town justice allows you to perform ceremonies.
So we're
Similar to that.
We're making her an officiant by doing this essentially. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I know they had the thing, like I said, nowadays anybody can, what do they call that, Becky?
We usually say an online ordained officiant, like the Universal Life Church.
No. I'm saying the people who want to.
Oh, the one-day officiant?
Yes. Is that what they call it? One-day officiant?
Yeah, that's just any person, they pay the fee. And then the officiant is for one specific marriage license. It's tied to a specific marriage license.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
No.
I just know, and I've known some people in the past who've been ordained so that.
I know a guy that did it too.
Before they had the one-day officiant, it was Colby Chandler, former CEO of Kodak, wanted to be the officiant for his granddaughter's wedding.
Okay.
And so he actually got ordained.
And that's what this guy did too.
So, yeah.
Guy's done 3 or 4 weddings.
All right. Any further questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley?
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford?
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek?
Aye.
Councilmember Owens?
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz?
Aye. I guess I'll just add that the training she's going to get is from Jan.
Mhm.
All right.
There you go. Mr.
That is
Supervisor.
very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 11-226/2026 to update the 2026 dog control fee schedule.
Second.
So we've basically gone through the work to be able to adopt out our dogs. So if we have a stray dog, usually, unfortunately, it's people who have abandoned dogs. So if there's a dog that's been unclaimed after the designated period of time, we can then adopt out. And so we've basically set a proposed fee. We've had good success with this in the past. They changed the rules, so then we had to go and update and be allowed to do it. But excited about it. I know we had a dog out there that was always watching the construction crew, and one of the construction crew members fell in love and wanted to adopt him. So
That's great.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley?
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford?
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek?
Aye.
Councilmember Owens?
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz?
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 11-227, 2026 to authorize the repair and reinforcement of the Henrietta Recreation Center playground shade structure, the canopy.
Second, so we looked at both replacing, let me take a step back. The canopy over the small playground outside the rec center, which is used for like the UPK and other kids programs. It suffered damage from the wind. It racked in the wind and bent. We looked at both the costs to replace it as well as to repair it. The cost of replacement was only a couple $1,000s more, but the reason we went this route is twofold. One, you would have had to pull it up out of the ground. Now there is some separation, but I'd just be afraid of the damage that would happen to the rubberized surface. The second thing is it would have the same problem that this one had, in that there's no triangles for them. So anyone who knows geometry, if you have three sides, there's only one triangle you can form. And what that means is when I push on it, it doesn't change shape. Whereas if you have a square, it can rack and so essentially turn into like a kite shape. That's the problem with this thing. There were no triangles, so it just pushed and bent and twisted in the wind. So it's a little bit cheaper to have Alpha Ironworks come in and reinforce, but it also means it will be stronger. So they're going to put in additional bracing and bars around the top to hold this in place. The first thing they'll do is straighten up what was bent, and then they'll add that back in. So hopefully we won't see a repeat of what happened.
Great idea.
Sounds good.
Any further questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 11-228, 2026 to make appropriate budget transfers and adjustments to the 2026 adopted budget.
Second.
So with the state budget finally passing, our CHIPS funding is coming in. So all told, could be close to $1 million.
Great.
Nice.
Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 11-229, 2026 to hire personnel and make the attached changes.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik, Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 11-230, 2026 to adopt local law number 8 of 2026 to amend chapter 224 of the Henrietta Town Code to update regulations pertaining to electronic reader board signs.
I second.
So as mentioned, this not only adopts the local law, but then it resolves to add the fee schedule. So the electronic reader board sign, new or renewal, $5 per square foot with a minimum $150. And then there's an electronic reader board sign, 10-second minimum dwell time is an additional $3 per square foot. Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 11-231/2026 to adopt local law number 9 to amend the code of the town of Henrietta to update the provisions therein to conform to the New York State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code.
Second.
Any discussion? We already talked about it at the hearing. Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have a resolution 11-232, 2026 to award the Henrietta Senior Center Building Addition Project Contract A General Construction bid to Loyal 9 Development Corp.
Second. So this is going to really cover the next 4 resolutions involved. So the dog shelter came in about 70% over what I'll call traditional construction costs. This one came in about 100% over additional construction costs. Tariffs, the closing of the Strait of Hormuz, general inflation, rising healthcare costs, it all adds up. Building has gotten ridiculously expensive. We've already had meetings. I've already had a meeting with Loyal 9. Talking with them, we went over a whole bunch of stuff that we can do from a value engineering standpoint. So to give you an example of one, the way the dining hall extension was designed, there was a side gable going out to the west and a vaulted ceiling and a window filling that vault. That's a lot of additional costs because I have to have footers, I have to have steel columns to support those points, a whole lot of work. That the window's more expensive. And oh, by the way, if you go there today and look out, what do you see? The hill. So I understand why the architect put it in there, and it was a really nice feature. But when you look at the price, we're going to have to make some sacrifices. So that's an example that went out. So there's some smaller ones, things like he specified herringbone tile. If we put in larger subway tile, simpler pattern, larger, it's a bunch of labor savings, and still looks great. So we're going through a bunch of that stuff. We'll put that together, but we're still going to have to find other revenues because other dollar sources. So we're working on that. The way I wrote this is that we're going to be talking, so that the not to exceed amount is what they bid, but it's subject to the contract being executed along with a first addendum. So under the WICS laws, in general municipal laws, we do this. You basically accept the bid, and then you can do an addendum. You're not supposed to do significant changes to where you've changed the scope of the project, but that's typically talking about going up, because for it spells out right in here in the resolution that, look, we may not be able to afford this. And so I've told all the developers that there is a chance that we're only going to do either the kitchen expansion or the dining hall expansion, but not both. We have enough money to do one or the other. We're going to try to get the additional funds to do them both. And we're going to try to identify savings. So between savings and additional funding, we'll hopefully make this fully happen. But they're all aware of that. So we'll be working on those agreements. The way I wrote the resolution is that general contract has to be approved by the town board. But before we can go into those negotiations, the way that procurement works, we have to accept their bids.
Okay.
So, we're accepting the bids, but it's conditioned upon us being able to execute a contract. And that contract has to be approved by the town board. So you're not giving a carte blanche for, essentially this comes close to $2 million. We have about $1 million in funding. I'm just rounding off, but we understand that this board has to protect the town finances. Right. As you know, I'm not, I like to protect the town finances as well. But this is the approach we're taking. So hopefully we'll be able to do it. If not, so over the next 3 weeks, I'll be working to identify additional funding. One of the things I'm verifying with the Association of Towns, that a senior center is considered And I don't even know if I asked you yet, it's Park and Recreation. Do you know that answer, Dan? Yeah, so I've reached out to them, but if we can get that verification, we have funds available for improvements to parks and recreation facilities. In addition, we have a Friends of the Henrietta Parks and Recreation. So we could potentially go out and do fundraising, and I will be reaching out to an individual who has been a major fundraiser in her past and asking her to volunteer to help. You know, so we could, for instance, maybe it's with the kitchen expansion, let's look at naming rights. Maybe we get, approach Wegmans about selling naming rights to them for the kitchen.
Right.
To produce the additional funds to help cover this
Good idea.
So it's frustrating with how bad this economy is for the costs. I mean,
Yeah, I was just
it's
looking
not
at,
just doing it to us, it's doing it to everybody.
I was
right?
looking at C, it's like $100,000 difference between the bid that we accept and the next closest.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, so fortunately what happened is like one of them I happen to know, they have somebody who's very efficient in the fire prevention, the sprinkler system. So that's like one of in talking with them, that's how they were able to get the cost down.
Okay.
So we see that a number of the bids that, fortunately they were pretty aggressive. The only frustrating thing, although I've heard great things about Loyal 9, and they actually also are, they are the designated contractor for the pit building, which is how we're doing the kitchen expansion. So I was disappointed that we only got one GC bid.
That is, yeah.
That's unusual. Usually, often that's one of the ones that we get more responses than others. But like I said, we'll see what we can do. Hopefully we can make this happen and do both expansions. I already broke it to the seniors because we opened the bid a day or two before the 35th anniversary.
Nice photos for that.
Yeah.
Look at nice event.
So I also said, I believe it was, does anyone know for certain that it was the county that did there was supposedly a resolution naming it Shelley Garino Day? Since Monroe County legislator Michael Udelson was there, I wasn't there when it was read.
Oh, okay.
So I'm assuming it came from the county, but I said, and apparently if you go and buy ice cream at Abbott's, they will contribute money to the senior center. I said, to the again, Mike had already left, but I basically said, well, ice cream's great, but how about county? I always hear from the county, and I absolutely agree with them. We have the best senior center in the county. Well, maybe the county can throw some money behind that to help us with this expansion.
Yeah.
One of the things is because we've been building so many, new housing, including a lot of new senior projects, as well as the population is aging, the attendance at our senior center is more than ever.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll be able to find some funding. If you haven't seen, the governor's budget includes over $300 million for the county of Monroe. And there's a bunch of projects that's broken out into. Someone was going to speak.
Supervisor. This is Pam Grunman from Recreation. So I was there when Steve Newcomb from the Director of the County Office for the Aging came and he read the proclamation.
So it's Office of the Aging? Okay, thank you. Because people kept, I got back here and I got yelled at for not letting the rest of the town clerk, like our clerks were all like, we'd have gone over and supported Shelley. I said, I didn't know anything about it until
yeah, Nicole kind of spread the word, but maybe she didn't get everybody. So
yeah. So one of the interesting things, Shelley has been there since the senior center opened. I wasn't aware of that. I knew she'd been there for a long time. I didn't know that she was there as long as the center was. So But yeah, she's a big part of why our senior center is the best, but her and her whole team, they do a phenomenal job.
You do
So,
a great job.
all right. Any other questions regarding, the GC? Again, this whole thing, we'll just talk about it here before we go on.
Yeah, I just know when I've paid some visits to the engineering department. I know they've worked hard on this project too, so.
Yeah, and one of the things, we've even to try to keep costs down, like we're doing all the site prep, we're doing all the excavation of the hill.
Wow.
It's just construction prices are just ludicrous right now.
And it's tough because the real estate market is also.
Right. So, well, and that's part of, it's new home construction is expensive. And then between that and the low inventory, it's driving home prices up.
Rental
and
prices up.
Rental prices up, everything, fuel costs, food, everything. It's just, it's crazy. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 11-233, 2026 to award the Henrietta Senior Center Building Addition Project Contract B Mechanical bid to Pipitone Enterprises LLC.
Second.
So I will note, again, the same clauses are in all of these. And we'll be having discussions with some of the GC has the biggest well, first off, it's the largest contract, but they also have the most, finishes and other things like that. It'll be tougher to pull, out of, some of the, trades. Although I will note that the plumbing, we're going to be working with our building department. Right now, it involves upgrading all of the existing sprinkler system to a wet system. I'm going to talk with our director and our fire marshal to see, is that absolutely required? Or because we're not upgrading the majority of the old building, we are upgrading the kitchen. So my question is, can we, we're expanding the kitchen, can we just upgrade the sprinkler in the kitchen?
Ansel system.
Right, so in the old, no, it'd just be a wet system, but.
Okay.
There'd still be so for the grill, but the old building is a dry system. Now that's kind of a misnomer. It's still a sprinkler system, but it's full of air, because some of it's in unheated space. To replace all that was probably about $100,000. So if we can get to where we don't have to do that, that'll be a significant savings on the plumbing contract.
Gotcha. Save, yeah.
So, but I'll be having discussions with Kevin and RT later this week next week to talk about what does the code absolutely require, and what would they be comfortable with? Like I said, my thought is, because the only portion that we're expanding and upgrading of the existing building is the kitchen. That should be the portion that we have to redo, but we'll see what happens. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Fellow board members, I have resolution 11-234, 2026 to award the Henrietta Senior Center Building Addition Project Contract C plumbing bid to Bell Mechanical Contractor Inc.
Second.
So again, we talked all about the same clauses. Any questions, comments?
Nope.
Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 11-235, 2026 to award the Henrietta Senior Center Building Addition Project Contract D electrical bid to Kaplan Schmidt Electric, Inc.
Second.
Any questions or comments? There is some potential savings here. I'm not sure. I'd prefer not to take them. But one of the things we have right now there's a whole bunch of the circuit panels and they kind of daisy chain. And we're bringing in a new service, and I'd really prefer to get rid of all that daisy chaining and do home runs for the circuit panels back to the new main circuit panel. But there's a cost to that. And so I'm going to ask them to give me what that breakout is if we didn't do that. And as much as I'd prefer to do that, depending on where we are dollars wise, we may have to leave the daisy chaining in. It's not a danger situation. It's just confusing as all get out when you're trying to figure out what breakers do I have to throw. So I really wanted to clean some of that up, but again, that's a prefer, not an absolute necessity.
Gotcha.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 11-236/2026 to authorize the Monroe County Sheriff's Office to install license plate reader equipment on town-owned infrastructure within the New York State Department of Transportation and Monroe County right-of-ways.
I'm gonna second this, but I want to also suggest we table it after talking. Second.
So I just want to explain. So I did Deputy Supervisor Craig Eckert and I were on a phone call with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, specifically with the person who's kind of leading the investigative effort, which these support. And I'm just going to read. I've gotten an email from an individual who had reached out to council members Safranek and Owens. And I just responded to her today because I wanted to fully look into this. So I'm just going to read what I wrote. But basically, when we go back to when this started, we'd originally, as it was described, the primary use of this system is for things like Amber Alerts, stolen vehicles, and the like. They can provide a list of license plates, and if a car with one of those plates goes past a reader, it would put up an alert at the sheriff's office investigation center. And so they've actually been using this because there's a bunch of cameras all across the county already, and they've been using them to catch stolen cars. So when a stolen car comes in, the alert, they're able to see where the vehicle goes, and they can go and catch the stolen vehicle. However, as we dug into this, there was questions about whether the system stores the scanned images, and it does. It stores them for up to 1 year. And as part of a criminal investigation, an investigator at the sheriff's office can create a query for a specific plate or to see what cars passed by readers at a small window of time. And I give an example of this use. They use the system to solve a recent murder. This is as I understand it, so I may not get all the facts correct, but it'll be close. They had the time of, I think it was a gunshot, and so knew the location, and they went to the cameras in either direction out of the area where the shooting occurred and asked for all cars. Now, this is, by the way, like a week or two after the event. After they've been doing this, 2 weeks after the event, they've been doing the investigation. And so they basically now had the window as to when the suspect was fleeing. It was the middle of the night, so they basically said what cars passed these at this particular time, and there was only a single vehicle. They were able to get the plate from that. They then went and used that. This individual became a suspect. They followed up on it. They had other things that tied him to the victim and or the scene, and they built enough of a case for an arrest. So that's an example of how they use it and specifically to store information. We had a long discussion with them, and these are some of the things they made clear. This is for serious crimes like kidnapping, murder, and other felonies. It is not for things like suspicion of illegally entering the country. We mentioned that because, as we know, unfortunately, with what's happening at the national level, there is an erosion of trust in law enforcement agencies, especially federal law enforcement agencies, and most notably ICE. The data can only be pulled for a criminal investigation, a missing person, or through a warrant. It cannot be pulled on administrative action, which is what ICE uses for their stuff. And it is not subject to FOIL, so no one can FOIL and say, hey, did this vehicle go by? That's not allowed. The data can only be pulled by the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. If they are partnering with other law enforcement agency, that agency can request through their sheriff's liaison, but ultimately is the sheriffs who queries the system to pull the data. They made clear they would not partner with ICE for that. In discussing this, I told the sheriff that while I trusted the current administration, which is County Executive Adam Bello and Sheriff Todd Baxter, there are past administrations that I would not have trusted. And I made it clear that if this administration ever betrayed that trust, or a new administration came in that we could not trust to protect the data, then we would want to require that they remove the cameras. And if they did not do so expeditiously, we would remove them and return them to them. And they were fine with that. He's going to go and look and to see that the agreement states that. The way I wrote the resolution is that I talk about that condition, so it's approved with that condition, and that I can only sign the agreement after it's been modified to address the condition above, in the event that because I doubt that's already in there.
Okay.
Now, as Mike said, he's proposing that we table this, or going to propose that we table this. One of the things we also reached out is would the lead on this person, or the lead investigator on this, and or well, he's definitely would be willing to come here, and then Craig is going to reach out to Sheriff Baxter and have them come talk to the town about it. So that's where we sit. Discussion.
Yeah, I feel pretty strongly that I want to be able to ask questions of the sheriff's office directly before I put an approval on this.
I also would like to be able to ask some questions. I just see, right, like you say, I do trust them right now, but who knows what's down in the future. And also, like, what if there's some change in ICE authority and they somehow force them to give up that information? I don't know, I'm thinking just thinking of all the things that could happen. So definitely some more questions, conversations, and how we can protect ourselves from any future administrations or anticipate anything else that could go down.
And a couple of things, we get into, obviously, there's a invasion of privacy issue. There's, the potential abuse. On the other side of that coin, it's the ability to solve these cases, and the thing with the storing of the data, one of the things was, so like I had a friend whose son disappeared at college. It was almost a week before they even realized he was missing.
Right.
And then it was about a week later that they realized he had taken a car.
Mm-hmm.
you know, it would have been very useful to be able to put in that plate and query, did this go past any of the readers?
Right.
In you know, the last 2 weeks. So, you know, you can absolutely see very valid, very good uses for this, not just for solving crimes, but also helping, you know, for individuals who again are missing, or, you know, other issues. Certainly, you know, God forbid there's an Amber Alert for an abduction. to be
Or
able
a
to
silver
track that.
alert where, you
Silver
know,
alert, yep.
an individual who becomes disoriented,
Yeah,
is
great point.
unable to find their way back home, and you know, this could be a way of locating them. It is always a balance between privacy and public safety.
Yep.
It's certainly, you know, I just want to make sure that we're
Oh, absolutely. I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing I also talk about, you want the biggest violator of privacy, it's these guys right here.
Mhm.
All you have to do is, I'm going to mention something different this time, because if I say the same thing twice, example twice, I will be getting all kinds of ads for it. So it's, you know, you just send an email about a tuba, and suddenly you'll start to see ads on your social media feeds for tubas. And a lot of times for some of them, you know, especially if you have things like Alexa or Siri or other stuff like that, the voice activated stuff, you don't even have to do a query. You just have to be talking about it.
Yep.
So, you know, it's,
And that's something that we have all willingly
I know.
bought into. Yeah.
That's right. That's a bit of the difference, but
Right.
I do find it, I just like to make that comment because I do find it funny that we're so concerned about whether that they found that, but oh, by the way, do you have location turned on? Google can sell your data as to here's where this individual has traveled over the past month.
Yeah, and they've been paying a whole lot of fines for that kind of invasion.
I know. But you know, you can come up, Greg. So like I said, I just, you know, it's I'm good with tabling it, because again, I think we need to be comfortable, and I think people want to know that we're doing due diligence. So
Exactly.
I know, like I said, a lot of them have already gone in because they're either on county-owned facilities or other towns have already okayed it. Well, and also every sheriff's cruiser has it right in the car itself too, so.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Supervisor, and good evening, members of the board. Craig Eckert, Deputy Supervisor. That's what I wanted to allude to. Some of the questions that you may want to ask too, is because these have been going on for quite a while. How long have they actually been in? I think it's close to 8 months to a year that they have been operating. So that may, you know, enter into some of the questions that you have as to how that's been operating and how that's been going. There were close to 300 Adam Mello initial deed to approve for 87 or so, or 90 were purchased in this group. And we have the 9 locations out of that 90. The rest are, again, have been installed and operating along with the ones on the cars that they've been utilizing as well. So that's the information I wanted to add to that.
Okay. Thanks, Greg.
I do have one quick question. And just being the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, are they installed in the city also yet, or?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure if they.
Yeah, we just happen to have a little bit of a unique situation with us owning the utility for it. So that's what they're really asking for, is that point of location to put them on that main intersection. They're not on town right of ways or town property, but the pole.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
And it's a good thing to table too, because one of your requests was to confirm that the electric isn't going to change anything on our lighting. I've been told that's true, but I need that confirmation from RG&E that if they're reaching out 2 or 3 times, I haven't received that yet. So this tabling will help produce that as well.
Thank you.
Have they forwarded the proposed agreement itself? I look in the backup stuff and it's, you know, it's basically technical stuff.
I thought there was an agreement in there.
I sent to you, Bellows resolution and agreement. The only stuff in the packet was just based off the license plate
Oh,
readings.
okay, I didn't realize you hadn't also sent that to the clerks. I apologize.
No, that's what I just sent to you for the meeting for Brannigan. with the sheriff's
Gotcha.
office.
Oh, so it's today, gotcha, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so this was like 3 or 4 o'clock today, 3 to 4 today, so it's very recent news.
Yeah.
So,
So, and I mean, I can certainly, I didn't mean to disclude that, but that was Bellows resolution, I think, if that's what you're looking for, Dan.
no, I think he wants what the intermunicipal agreement with regard to the cameras.
Yeah, there's an MOU with that with the county.
Okay, yeah, I should probably take a look at it.
Right, yeah, we didn't draft an MOU because they're just going on the pole on state and county right of ways. So they will be permitted in the state and county right of ways. We're just giving them, if we so choose, access to the pole.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have an agreement giving them access to the pole, correct? A written agreement?
We have, that was.
Yes, there would have to be, to answer your question, yes, we would have to have a written agreement. So that's one of the things I had requested in terms of, as far as how that works, so.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I make a motion, we make a motion to table resolution 11-236-2026 until after the town board has had an opportunity to meet with representatives from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. So the motion is tabled. The chief investigator involved with this will be unavailable at the next workshop, so we're looking at the workshop in July. That concludes our resolutions. Do we have any miscellaneous or committee reports from the board?
So fire district meeting was Tuesday, this past Tuesday. This year they've had over 10% increase from calls compared to last year. Also, the news from there is our fire commissioner and chairman, Joe Martin, is leaving that position. He's moving out of town. He served as a volunteer for the last 47 years. So I want to thank him for all his service to the community. And it was, I was kind of shocked when I heard that. First I heard of it. So, and then this past Saturday, we had the the eighth annual RH Kicking Hungry 5K run. Well attended. It was kind of the beginning was kind of scary when it was raining like cats and dogs, and then by the time they got going, it was great. Councilmember Safranik was in the race. I was just
I don't know about.
okay.
In the run.
He's stretching it a little bit.
She participated in that part. I just stood at the corner. I stood at the senior center, make sure no cars came out.
It is inspiring. Really, I think even my sister and I are talking about we're gonna do it next year. So
I will note that I think it's called the 5K run, not race.
Oh, no, it's actually called run or walk. Run/walk. Yes.
I was the walk part.
I will.
My daughter likes to point out I was near the bottom third.
Christina says her and her sister will probably do it. Millie will probably. I'll probably just stand at my regular post at the senior center. So that's my.
Too damn early in the morning.
Yeah. And, I left my house and it was drizzling a little bit. I got to the rec center and it was absolutely pouring out. And then it let up. By the time the race started, just let up.
right at the
I
beginning.
will point out, it was also our first official town use of the new band shell.
That's right. Yep. And we were all sort of like crowded under there when it was raining. But I'd also like to point out the Sopranics were there in force. So the whole family participated, Harmony volunteered, and everybody else was in the 5K run or walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll echo. I thought it was really inspiring. I volunteer every year through the Rush Henrietta Rotary, and this was exciting to be under the new band shell. And then we had a little emergency. I had to run back and go get bagels. And I made it almost in time. Anita was in charge of all the volunteers. She trains them very well. I got yelled at by one volunteer, and I said, no, I have the bagels. I need to go. She didn't have a radio. So, but the other people let me through, like the sheriff and everything. But it's inspiring to see everybody, like, didn't matter. Everybody was out there running or walking.
And the other thing I was gonna add there too is the young people, once again,
Mhm.
as Millie talked about our young people earlier tonight. The young people volunteer, first they sing the national anthem, and then they get done with that, and then they come out, then they came out and volunteered out on the course.
Cheering all of the old folks on.
Yeah, and so that's always great. And the folks at the rec center do a wonderful job. So
I'll provide a shout out to Lori Machniak, who was cheering people on. And I've received a number of comments about how great she was in terms of, in fact, let me see if, because she had a little rhyme that she was telling people.
Yeah, the school participates pretty strongly too. I saw our Roth Junior High principal that was out there with a team of kids from Roth. And there is a 5K run club. I know at Sherman, and I think at some of the other schools as well, that always show up big with their families. And it's always so inspiring to see the thrill of these young kids as they complete their first 5K.
So her line was, keep the pace and a smile on your face. So
Yep.
someone was saying that should be our slogan next year. She also would promise them there was a finish line and it is coming soon.
Anything else?
I'm good.
Okay. I had two things. One, we had our historic site committee chair here, Gary Goodrich, and that whole committee does a great job of kind of mitigating things and helping our residents go through some things that in other towns, which I have a client that's in another town, and their preservation society is very stringent on their historic buildings. And this person was just changing their bar into changing a coffee shop into a bar restaurant, and the things that they have to go through to get changes entails an attorney. And so they paid like $40,000 twice to go before this preservation society to get changes or get nothing done. So, in our town, our historian, Tina Thompson, and our committee, they do a great job of working with the residents, giving them ideas on what they can do to be in historic nature. And that means a lot. Instead of, having an attorney to go out and fight for something that you probably shouldn't have to do, and our town's great for that. The other thing, I like to just give some kudos out to the River Municipal Golf Course and their staff. Every time I go there, all the staff members are great. They take good care of the people that come in there. The course is in magnificent shape. I played somewhere else besides Riverton. I was out at Lima, and it was in terrible shape. They got 218 course, whole golf courses, and neither one of them are any good. I will never go back. And I know the fact that our course is in great shape, and I think it'll be even better as time goes on. So great job by Charlie and the staff that's keeping up with the greens and everything. And those mobile mowers are outstanding.
Yeah.
They really do a lot of work out there, especially when it's wet. because you can't get mowers out there to do that stuff. And all the stuff they're moving out there, our town employees are moving the trees and moving stuff like that. I think it's a good partnership, that we have, some equipment we can use out there. We have some employees that work very diligently out there, and I see them working hard. So I just want to say thank you to those employees for what they do. And all the staff, a lot of young people are working there. Your son works there. I see him there all the time. Skyler does a great job. So thank you for doing a good job out there. And I see some of the patrons out there, and they just love coming to the golf course. They really want to know when we're going to get just a little bit of a restaurant there so they can get a sandwich and have a drink. I say, well, maybe it's coming.
Working on it, but I will tell you right now, with construction costs,
Yeah,
I'm
I
really
know.
afraid.
I know, it's expensive. That's all I have, thanks.
Youth board, so our long-serving chair is stepping down, Jesse Redlow. So I just wanted to thank him for his many years of service to the youth board in a couple of different roles. A new chair has been selected for the youth board by the board itself. So I'd like to welcome Lucretia Scott as chair to the youth board. They were also instrumental in organizing the RH Kicking Hunger, which Councilmember Stafford referenced. They registered 331 runners. And once all the bills are paid, they believe that the total raised will be around $10,000. So that's a great amount for the food pantries here in town. The library is going to be hosting early primary voting from June 13th to the 21st. So please get out and vote in the primary. And they also have a series of America 250 events, as this is the 250th anniversary of America. Next couple of things in the series are on June 25th. There's going to be a talk on looking back at 1776 by MCC Professor of History, Mark Sample. And on June 30th, there's going to be an evening of 19th century dances. So you'll be able to look at watch some of the dances that are going to be going on from the Flint Hill Dance Troupe. I had a chance to attend a Health and Safety Coalition meeting at the CHS building. And the school district has conducted a needs assessment as part of the community school strategy being implemented. And they're going to share the results at the next meeting on the 18th. And based on those results, the coalition is going to plan how to use a $750 stipend that's being provided by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. They're going to be providing some communities talks. They also submitted an application for a federal drug-free community support grant back in April, and they're hoping to hear about that grant in August or September. If they are successful, it will be a pretty significant amount, about $125,000 per year for 5 years. And finally, Parks and Rec is having some exciting events. They've got the Pokemon Party coming up on June 20th. They're asking people to leave their personal cards at home so that nothing sad becomes of those personal cards. It looks like they're going to have Gaga Ball and Capture the Flag as well. And that'll be on June 20th with different age groups. The Henrietta Community Chorus is having a free Pops concert on Thursday, June 18th at 7 o'clock at Berger Junior High. And the Tinker Art and Garden Party is going to be from June 20th through July 4th, 11 to 3 at the Tinker Homestead and Farm Museum. So that's me.
Okay. For me, I last week I attended the conservation board It's always amazing to hear our conservation board. I'm so always impressed every single meeting. They meet once a month, which does conflict with the school board, but the school board actually meets twice a month or every 3 weeks. But anyway, they were talking to the Benderson Development Group about a warehouse that they were want to build at the end of Mushroom Boulevard. There's some really great questions. It also, I've noticed a lot of our developers are conscious or aware of our concern about making sure there's enough green space in our town. So they're trying to meet it, and I think they are proposing like 40 to 40% at their sites. And I think the requirement is like 25% green spaces. There's some really great questions. One of the members was asking about like why they haven't identified tenants, but we were explained very clearly that this is a long process and it takes a really long time. They have to build it before they can get tenants. And then I think there was they're concerned about environmental concerns like data centers. They're concerned that maybe they might add a data center there, but they actually, maybe I'll follow up later, but one of the members is concerned about that. How do we kind of control that? I'm thinking same thing. They give advice about landscaping and environmental things. Like I said, we have some pretty well-qualified members on our committee, and all the developers or the people who come to the board are very receptive about that, as we are concerned about making sure there's 70% of the native plantings are in the area that they're proposing, and to advise them that there are certain trees and stuff that are definitely not native and that they should avoid. Other than that, I will be attending the next school board meeting, and I understand there's some concern, so there's going to be some public discussion there as well, and I'll report back when we come back to that. I think that's all I have, really.
So just real quick, I've been attending a bunch of ribbon cuttings. Recently, we had the grand reopening of the Palmer's Market and Restaurant. We had the opening of Skyworks, and we had the opening of Old Brick. Both Skyworks and Old Brick had been soft open for a while, but it was their official ribbon cutting. In fact, Old Brick Furniture was today. So great to see new businesses, and they were looking all across Western New York, and they chose Henrietta because whenever he would come through here, he saw a bunch of new construction stuff coming in, a lot of housing, easy to get to. They're from the Albany area originally, but he chose, this is their first foray into Western New York. So, he very excited about coming to Henrietta. So that's about it. Do we have anything from the public? Then can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Hearing no